Hello，各位同学、家长，还有线上也有老师哈，大家好，我是UWE在台湾的教务长 Peter 那今天很高兴我们有邀请到我们艺术设计学院的副院长Dr. Nian 来跟大家来做一些分享。在他分享之前呢，我就先来做一个暖场我来介绍一下 UWE所在的地方叫 Bristol 是一个离伦敦很近的地方大概开车90分钟所以几乎就在平行的左手边那中间有牛津有巴斯这些城市然后 Bristol 的对面就是那个威尔斯的首都了Cardiff 所以是一个算是一个比较热闹而且集中的一个地方Bristol 也可以说是整个英格兰第3大城市所以在这样的一个背景底下，大家会对它比较容易理解好，我们来看一下这个在 Bristol 有这些资源这也正好跟我们 UWE 的这个所谓的学校的精神是一致的第一个它有很多知名的企业跟工业公司这些，然后我就从这个开始 Rolls-Royce 跟 UWE 是两个是合作伙伴所以我们在航太工程还有在动力机械这些等等方面，我们也一起制造了全世界跑最快的汽车把飞机引擎背在汽车上面OK 好，那除了这个以外BBC 在 Bristol 也有一个总部那这个总部的话算是在伦敦以外第二个重要的地方因为20大战的时候英国被轰炸，被德国人轰炸，所以 BBC 就把大部分的资产还有就转移到了 Bristol 这样子然后我们跟 BBC 两个之间是等于是兄弟关系 BBC 的董事也是我们的董事然后我们 BBC 在为我们 UWE 也创立了专门设立了一个就是广播频道给我们学生，还有电视台有一个野生动物频道，这个都给我们学生让我们学生来操作跟发表。然后UWE 也有一个非常知名的科系就是 Robotics 就是这个机器人系这个 Robotics 在这里的话，我们是跟Bristol 另外一家大学University of Bristol 两校合作，我们负责大学部然后Bristol 负责研究所这样子我们这个实验室是欧洲最大的机器人实验室然后讲到艺术设计类就有很多可以提到了那 Bristol 算是一个艺术的重镇那英国最知名的动画公司 Aardman 他拿过6次奥斯卡动画奖的提名那这些动画其实也是我们大家知道的那有个Doodle Art 全世界最知名的艺术家虽然大家都不知道他长什么样子他就住在那 Bristol 在 Bristol 的街道上面就处处可见他的作品然后它同时Bristol 这个地方也是电影之城是联合国科教文组织命名的电影之城那很多的电影都在这里开拍所以在这边你可以看到像这个神探夏洛克还有Doctor Strange 奇异博士还有权力游戏等等这些很多的电影都是在 Bristol 开拍的然后它也是一个小说知名的小说知名的名人大家集中的地方所以在这边你可以看到这个我们有很多的名人住在这里，包括哈利波特作者J.K. Rowling 还有像这个那个星际大战权力游戏这些好莱坞名人 Dyson 也是把它研发中心放在 Bristol 这个我们在我们学校官网都会看到，所以 Bristol 这个地方因为它就集合了政治商业经济这些聚焦在这里所以 我们学校UWE Bristol 也是强调这个我们是一个 University of the Real World， 我们很强调跟实作来做结合。所以在这边你可以看到这个地图左下角就是 Bristol， 它是在一个峡湾，它离伦敦距离算是很近的一个地方，所以它是一个充满活力，然后是一个很棒的，特别是在开创事业的伙伴来讲，它的科技、它的经济、它的财经、金融方面都是一个很好的培育地。然后你可以看到它在商业密度在英国是排名第5，这个是非常难得。除了我们刚刚看到的我们讲的这些之外，还有包括 Bloomberg， 还有那个 Airbus， 还有这些4大会计事务所等等，电信公司都在这个地方。OK， 所以这些企业，所以我们是很容易跟这些企业来做结合。然后大公司大企业越多，就业机会越高，所以在这里要的创新跟活力相对的也更多。所以你可以看到在西南英格兰地区几乎很多的大公司所在地都在 Bristol， 它也是欧洲最有魅力城市第11名，英国最适合居住的城市。所以在这边我就先做一个短时间的一个暖场，也跟大家来做一个介绍关于 UWE 在我们这方面的这些表现。好，那我们这边有个影片我也可以分享给大家。在今年我们UWE 也是在获得英国卫报 Guardian 这个权威杂志的一个英国大学排名，我们排24名。然后特别在艺术设计类我们几乎是第2，几乎是第2名。所以我们来看一下这个影片。OK， 所以你可以看到跟 Bristol 相关的这些活力的部分包括电影、包括设计、包括艺术类我们在英国英国有200间大学我们都在排在非常非常前面这样子。好，那这是我跟大家分享的部分。Okay, so this is my part. So I will give this to Mian. Hello, Mian. Your turn.
Hi. Good evening, Taiwan friends and colleagues. It's good morning from very cold Bristol. We had snow last few days, so it's -3 at the moment in UK. Some places it's -10. So as you can see, we are all shivering here. Anyway, it's lovely to see everyone here at the webinar. And what I'm going to do is, first of all, to talk a bit about our MA Master's program in animation. My colleagues who are the course leaders in animations have very kindly recorded a small film for you. So I will share it with you now. And after the animation presentation, I will continue my my research practice, which talks about social engagement work at UWE. This is our university's 2030 strategies. So every type of creative work we do will benefit society. This is one of the important kind of practice that any students are encouraged to do so. But I will talk about that later, about some of the projects I work with students, just to give you an idea. But I will now share with you the presentation from my colleagues. It's a recorded film, but it will give you a very good idea, and he will also show you some examples of the work that our students have done. So give me 1 second while I'll set up.
School of Animation, and welcome to the postgraduate MA course. Miss Cook, and along with Julia Bracegirdle, we're the joint course leaders. The MA Animation is located in a rather lovely new building, which we share with film and journalism. Here it is. It's at the Bower Ashton campus on the edge of Bristol, very near the Bristol Suspension Bridge, and right next to Ashton Court Deer Park. That's more like the view from our window. It's about a mile from the city centre, so it's easily walkable or cyclable. The course has an art school mentality, not least because we share the sites with photography, fashion, foundation, interior design, illustration, printmaking, ceramics, drama. There's wildlife documentaries here, and the animation BA, which is nice because it means all the arty folk are together on one site, and there's lots of potential for collaboration between the different courses. In terms of campus resources, we have everything you might expect and need: sound, editing studios, metal, wood, ceramics workshops, print workshops, digital and IT labs, TV studios, photographic studios, life drawing, and all of them have their own technical instructors. And when it comes to animation, it's all industry standard kit. It's continually updated. Everything you would need to be producing work in stop motion, in CGI, in 2D or 2D digital. The site also has a wonderful library, recently revamped. It's doubled in size and open 8:30 till midnight. Offers all manner of academic support, and it even has a librarian who's a specialist in animation. And beyond this campus, again, all very walkable, there are numerous other UWE sites dotted around, covering all sorts of art and design related subjects: fine art, photographics, printmaking, product design. There's even a course in virtual reality. And Bristol generally is a rather creative city, known for its balloons, its music, its graffiti. It's the home of Banksy, and the BBC Natural History Unit. It's also a festival city, especially during the summer, when every weekend there seems to be some kind of festival going on. But Bristol's also known for animation. Aardman is probably the most well-known studio, but frankly, there are lots of other smaller companies producing internationally renowned work. Obviously, the MA has links with a lot of these studios, and opportunities often arise for work experience, internships, industry visits, and of course, this increases the potential for future employment. Actually, many of our students end up staying and working in Bristol. Bristol as a centre of animation also allows us to invite some really great industry guests to come and give talks. This week, we've had Jay Clark. He's come in, given a couple of talks about storyboarding. He's Wes Anderson's story artist. But there's also a wider animation community here, animation societies and screenings that enable students to show their work and hobnob with the wider industry. Here's some of the posters for some of the talks. Our course is also supported by our lovely technical team who specialise in CG, 2D and stop motion. And the academic staff that teach into the MA come from a wide variety of animation backgrounds. Here's some of the companies that they've worked for. Here's some of the productions that they've worked on. John ran his own animation company. Rachel was an animator and producer at Aardman. Steve has worked on big CG features. Chris has decades of 2D experience. Julia worked in art direction on features, and I worked as a director at Ardman for 20 years. I did a rough tally the other day, and it's approximately 160 years worth of industry experience. We all teach into the BA course in animation that runs over 3 years, but the MA runs over 3 semesters, 15 months. So it's a much shorter course, just over a year. Each semester is 12 weeks, so that's 36 weeks in total. The course is full-time with timetabled content, generally speaking, 2 days a week. Whereas the BA has around 50 students each year, which is still comparatively small program. The MA has only 15 students or thereabouts. So it really is a pretty small course. Let's watch a clip. This is from Cornelius Josh, who's now working as an animator in Germany. It is a little bit weird and does contain a little cartoon nudity. The MA itself is divided into 5 modules, and you have to pass all of these modules to get your master's degree at the end. Here's a rough sketch of the different modules over the 3 semesters. Animated Encounters, it's a 30-credit module. It's about getting some basic training, having a go at some key processes, stop motion, CGI, 2D. However, this MA is not a technical training program. That said, the technical workshops carry on throughout the MA, but fundamentally the course is creative, practice-led. MA students often come with some technical knowledge that they build on, but what tends to happen is that they're often unsure of what path to choose, or maybe they want to try something new. Either way, this short technical ramp-up helps them clarify a direction. Then is in at the deep end, teaming up and having a go at making a short, quickly produced group film. This is a great project as it helps you get going, dive in, make mistakes, and become familiar with the ins and outs of an animated production. It also gets you working together in small groups, getting to know each other, and this is really useful as students often team up on films later in the year. The next module in semester 1 is Animation Agenda. It's also a 30-credit module. This is all about you and your agenda. This is usually a film idea, but it can also be about building an animation showreel or producing a pre-production portfolio of storyboards or art direction, or making models. Occasionally, students opt for a more unusual path. We've had students in the past getting involved in games, apps, visual effects, virtual reality, theatre projects, compositing, projection mapping, and even partially animated online graphic novels. In this way, it's a very open and diverse course. It aims to be adaptable and help guide you so you gain confidence, produce great work, and find your own creative voice. We do this through lectures, seminars, critiques, technical workshops, brainstorming, and pitch sessions. We'll also be allocating you your own specialist academic supervisor, ideally relevant to your discipline, and you'll meet them regularly throughout your MA. So in semester 2, you start production, and you do a little reading and writing. All MAs have a written component. This one's no exception. Animation Inquiry is the research and writing module. 15 credits, has two possible pathways. One is an animation studies pathway. This might be an essay, a video essay, a presentation that researches and looks critically at some aspect of animation, its context and meaning. It's a more traditional academic route. Or an essay, video essay or presentation researching either the business side of animation production or new innovations in animation. Ideally, whatever pathway you choose, it should be linked to your personal practical work, not simply a tick box exercise or an academic study for the sake of it. But the bulk of your work in semester 2 will be practice-based in the Studio A module. It's a bigger 45 credit practice-based production module. It tends to include a lot of pre-production, but this is where you knuckle down and actually start to produce your work, your films, your showreels, your portfolios, your models. Yes, there are lectures, visiting lecturers, seminars, workshops, presentations will continue as normal, but the focus is now about you and your work. There is a clear emphasis on critiques, either small group sessions or individual critique with your supervision tutor. And at this time, you may also be allocated an industry mentor. And in semester 3, there's only one module, Studio Z. It's a whopping 60 credit module where you'll be continuing to produce and complete your practice-based work. You started with Studio A, and in Studio Z, you'll finish and present your projects. This is all about production, post-production, polish, and finally presenting your work. In addition to your final project, you'll also be preparing for graduation and your future beyond the university with things like websites, showreels, funding bids perhaps, festival pack, and promotional materials. So who applies to a course like this? Well, we have a diverse range of people who apply to the MA in animation. They're diverse geographically. Certainly our students come from all over Europe, but they also come from the rest of the world. We've had students from the US, Colombia, China, Taiwan, Malaysia, Thailand, Iran, Vietnam, Argentina, Mexico. So Lamia and Hend, as an example, came all the way from Egypt. They worked on numerous live briefs with real clients, the BBC, various charity organizations, a commission from the university itself. And they also made a 5-minute film that won awards in film festivals. As a result of all this work, they ended up setting up their own animation company. And in their spare time, they even painted a grommet. Here's a clip from their film Flipped. It's a very sweet premise. What if adults and children swapped roles? The course is also diverse aesthetically, not just in terms of the medium, be it 2D, CG or stop motion, but also in terms of individual style. There's no house style at all. Instead, we do our best to encourage and support your individual voices, your unique voice. Someone like Alice Kirby, she came from fine art. She produced abstract landscapes, which she wanted to animate. Georgie Ball came from illustration, and she had no experience of animation when she arrived, and she wanted to animate her illustrations. She did work experience while she was here on Shaun the Sheep, and is now working at Ardnam as a model maker. Let's have a clip from the film she made. The course is also diverse in terms of the students' aims and aspirations. Some, like Georgie, move from illustration into animation or graphic design or fine art to add another string to their bow and to increase their chances of employment. Some are professionals who want to re-establish themselves in another area of the industry. Others just want the opportunity, the time and support to build a reel or a portfolio or to make a short film. Some have gone into theatre work, VR or games. Jack Bennett, for instance, made a film with fairly limited animation. It was an 8-minute film, big film, but concentrated more on the writing. He now has an animated series in production, made in Bristol by one of the many local animation production companies. Here's a clip from his graduation film, Not the End of the World.
Hello, I'm a girl. Yeah? Wow. Joe, do you know what this means?
Joe knew exactly what this meant.
What does it mean? Molly, who?
This confuses things for Joe, for there were two possible Mollys. Molly number one was Molly Anderson. As far as he could tell, she enjoys listening in class, cleaning her glasses and maths. In their future together, they would go on sensible dates and go bird watching.
Oh, a bird.
When they wed, by which point Joe would of course be an astronaut, they would be happy and Joe would be free to pursue his intergalactic dreams and
get a real job, like accounting or business.
Anyway, Molly number two was Molly Wood. She seemed to enjoy singing, laughing about things that Joe really had no idea about, and drawing hearts and flowers in her workbook. Instantly, Joe recognised this feeling.
I love her.
And he would defend her honour to his grave.
I heard she let Cy Rich touch her boob.
Don't you dare speak about her like that.
But what do our students end up doing after the course? Well, they make films and they win awards, but they also go on to do a huge variety of things. Become animators, story artists, designers, modelers, editors, compositors, directors, producers. Some even work in advertising agencies. Others stay on in education, taking PhDs, or even becoming lecturers themselves. They work on features, series work, shorts, commercials, music videos. They work in VFX, games, maybe even apps, sometimes theatre work or installations. They work across all areas of pre-production, production and post-production. And some even set up their own animation companies. So what are we looking for in an applicant to this MA course? Yes, we're looking for examples of great animation, but we're also looking for any number of possible things: exciting ideas, an interesting story, sketchbook work, storyboards, models perhaps, interesting design work. We don't just want to see all the shiny finished pieces. We want to see your working process, your exploration, your experimentation, your spectacular failures, perhaps your use of different materials, your thumbnail doodles, your ideas, your thinking. We want to see your attitude, your passion. We want to see you in the work that you present. And the one thing that unites all of our very diverse students is that they are independent, they're resourceful, they're ideas driven, they're creatives that have an attitude, a passion to make individual, innovative, and distinctive work. Let's have a last clip. This is from Matt Thomas's film Grit, a stop-motion animator, and he's now working at Aardman Animations in Bristol. So to sum up, the course is a small course. The MA is around 15 students, 3 12-week semesters. So that's about 36 weeks over a 15-month period. We're in Bristol, which is great, famous for its animation industry and its animation community. And the course is a very diverse course. The students come from all over the world, producing varied work, using different techniques in different styles. There's no house style, and students work on solo or group projects with a very wide range of creative aims and aspirations. So if this course sounds fun, exciting, and feels right for you, then we'd really love to hear from you. Here's our email addresses up here: julia.bracegirdle@ue.ac.uk and lewis.cook@ue.ac.uk. We're going to be doing a Q&A session very shortly. You can ask any questions you like. So we'll see you there in a moment.
Okay, I will stop sharing. So I hope you all enjoyed the presentation from the School of Animation. And if you have any questions, I can answer some of them now. If there are difficult questions, you can also contact my colleagues directly. I will leave this link with Maggie and with Peter, so you can review the whole presentation again. So I will leave it with Maggie and Peter once I've completed my presentation. Okay, but for 5 minutes, are there any questions from colleagues and from the students? You can put it in the chat if you want to. If you're too shy to speak, you can put it in the chat box. The chat box is the bubble speech icon. If you open the purple tab, it will open up the bubble speech. Click onto it and you can start chatting. Hi everyone again. This is something very different from animation. This is some work that I have produced with students, and the idea is to encourage students to use their creative practice, whether they're animators, designers, or fine art artists, architecture, it doesn't matter, but applying creative practice as a tool to help society and also to help the communities. So I'm going to follow on with a presentation about the work that we have achieved with some art and design students and also students from other disciplines as well. Okay, so just to give you a brief introduction about myself, my name is Mian Ng. I was an associate head of department. I now have a new role, specifically looking at social engagement with creative practice. I collaborated with many diverse communities looking at issues such as domestic violence, immigration and cultural identities. For me personally, as an educator, I'm very passionate about applying what we have and knowledge and skills in our creative world to better society and to enable different sections of the communities who hasn't got the ability to have a voice for themselves. Because I firmly believe creative practice is one of the most important tools that anyone can offer to make the world a better place. So what is socially creative engaged practice? This is defined by the Tate Gallery in London because it is a very important practice among artists, designers. So how they define it is socially engaged practice, also referred as social practice or socially engaged art, can include any art form which involves people and communities in debate, collaboration, or social interaction. This can often be organized as a result of an outreach or education program, but many independent artists also use it within their work. So it's around this content that I'm going to show you some of the work that UWE students have produced. I also want to highlight that this type of work is very much encouraged at UWE Bristol. As I said earlier on, it doesn't matter if you are an animator or filmmaker or graphic designer, interior designer. All our practice is geared towards making a better society. So for myself, I have responsibility in connecting students, working with communities. And a lot of the time, I will also try to make sure the students have gained payment as part of their professional practice by doing or taking on some projects. So what's the impact of social engagement in creative practice? Social engagement can create equity in collaboration. Creative practice is a dynamic and powerful way for students, artists to work with communities to highlight social injustices. It helps to resolve issues and in leveling the playing field. It makes, as I said earlier on, the more disadvantaged groups to have a voice. Through using creative practice, we enable and also to empower the less powerful people to use different means to communicate their issues that affect their environment. Decision making within social local communities, for example, there's a very good example of cultural democracy work by the 2015 Turner Prize winner called Assemble. This is a collective piece of work that involves the community, architects, interior designers, fine art artists, graphic designers, everybody grouped together to rebuild a part of a local community in Liverpool, a very deprived area, very poor area, but they rebuild that area into a very active and also self-sufficient area where local community feel very proud of their environment. Used to be quite a dangerous part of the city, but then they have used all the different skills from the creative professionals to enable them to make decisions for their community. So this piece of work, if you go to Google and look at what they have achieved, it sums up from what I've just described to you, the type of work that is important. It's also making different types of community having a voice through activism. These are mainly maybe UK political situations, but you can also Google it to check out what Windrush is. There's a lot of scandals based around a group of elderly Caribbean elders who came to UK in the 1950s, but they're being disadvantaged because of their color of the skin, and also they are being regarded as second-class citizens. Basically, a lot of things are happening around their community. So one of the projects that I created, which I will show you later on, demonstrated how we use our skills as graphic designers, filmmakers, fine art artists to actually tell the society, UK society, that we, the people of color, has actually contributed tremendously in the country's economy, social and cultural landscape of UK. So I will talk about it later. And also it empowers people. It empowers students who creates the project. It also empowers us as educators, and also the communities, because we are learning and sharing skills all the time of how to make this society a better world to live in. So how do we go about using our practice? First of all, to work with local communities, we have to build trust. We have to look at and research at the issues that impact their lives. What is it that is affecting their lives that make them so difficult to get on to do things like normal people do? So through this, through consultation, through talking to local communities, we have come with a plan together and we share skills and knowledge. So this is a UWE toolkit for all our educators, academic staff. And this is one of the better policies that is enshrined in UWE Bristol. We are a very caring university. This is one of the policies of the university. By building better intercultural understanding and skills, will play a part in addressing the gap in attainment between Black, Asian, minority, ethnic, and white students at the program and module level across the whole university. That is a practice that we have to ensure all students, despite of color, will come to the same level, same equal opportunities for each and every learner within the university. So this is one of the collaborative projects that we work with communities. We have a group of refugee and asylum seekers, artists based in Bristol. So we collaborated with this group of artists to work together and to make art pieces, and then we will exhibit it together in exhibitions. So I've just talked a bit about the artists collective, BRAC, and they also share their own culture with our students. It's a both two-way sort of communication, because our students will pass on certain skills, but majority, all these artists come from different parts of the world, will also share skills they already have onto with our students. So these are some of the work that they do. I'll just quickly run through this. This is a piece of work by a refugee artist. I'm not sure if you understand the issue at all in Taiwan, but refugee and immigrant situation in Europe is quite a politicized agenda. A lot of these refugees risk their lives to flee their country because of persecution, to come to a safer place, and through that they have encountered a lot of problems, prejudices, for example, and also displacement. So this is a piece of work of an artist who used just paper to build boats, because boats, as you hear from the news each day, is the main sort of life and death transport for a lot of people who try to escape. And these are some of the work that is created by the refugee artists with our students, and they're sharing skills on embroidery. Some of the women artists are from Middle Eastern countries like Syria, like Iran, and they have especially amazing skills in embroidery and needlecraft. So they share these skills with our students. And these artists, we have been working with Shireen for a number of years, and especially we are supporting them in order for them to have space to work. We gave them some studio space so they can do larger pieces of work, and as part of the collaborative projects together. And some of the beautiful pieces of work that our students and refugee artists create using different medium, paper, and other paints as well. Okay, this project is the Windrush Generation project I told you earlier on. The group of elderly Caribbean elders who came to UK when they were very young, they were invited by the British government to do jobs that then the British people do not want to engage in. A lot of the jobs are lower skill type of jobs, but they are invited to come, and they came in a boat called the Windrush, hence it's called the Windrush project. Once they were here, they have obviously have families who, children who grow up here, born here, but throughout the last few generations, their life hasn't been much better improved because of racism. So this project has to look at the positive aspects of the Caribbean community, how they contribute to this British society. So I created with two other colleagues, and we did a number of creative work out of this. We have performance. We also have working with the elderly Caribbean community, a series of films, interviews, films documenting their lives, and also Some of our students in the School of Art and Design did amazing poetry and also great pieces of paintings and work that depict their sort of experience from their grandparents who comes from the Caribbean, who came here during the 1950s. These are some of the work that the students did as a piece of installation art and painting as well. We also have created in the School of Art and Design, where you will be working if you are coming to UWE. We have a group called the Outreach Working Group, and this group will consist of staff, projects, and also students working together to create dynamic projects. And these are some of the projects that students filmed and also created for schools. I will leave this presentation to Maggie. If you have time, you can click onto these links to see the type of work they do, and the videos about how they feel as well about creating these projects. Another international project that I'm leading with students is called the Gambia Project. And these are quite impactful projects that is based in West Africa, in a small country called Gambia. And our students, that includes everybody in the university, would have the opportunity to co-create interdisciplinary activities that are needed in the Gambia to enable sort of sharing skills and development with young people there. This is to help the country to develop, especially after over 20 years of dictatorship in the country. It's now opening up, but they need a lot of international support. So UWE has this. This is the only university that has created a program to enable students to have that opportunity to go out there and deliver the projects. So these are some of the students. If you are a student at UWE, you will also have an opportunity to apply to be part of this project, which will take place over 2 weeks. We work with the museum and in the country to help support their archiving materials of their national museum, because they need a lot of special skills. And our photography students, architecture students were out there supporting the museum to develop different things, different aspects that they probably do not have the resources to do so. Our architecture students also built amazing shelters for street children using recycling materials, bottles filled with sand as bricks. As you can see, all these are water bottles and filled with sand to make as bricks, so to make it sustainable, and also using materials, found materials as well for that reason. We also work with a local school to look at environmental issues around the country, how the younger generation out there in Gambia can in future be activists for a cleaner environment. Because at the moment, in a lot of poorer countries, the West use it as a dumping ground of their toxic materials, of their rubbish. So it is educating the younger generation in schools to enable them to think about the future of their country. And for our fashion students, this is an incredible project because they went out there and teach different fashion patterning, sewing skills to young people, to the fashion guild in Gambia. In Africa, people make their own clothes, but they probably do not have the skills to create patterns so that it's being accurately designed for the body. So our students went out there and actually work with the young guild members out there and show them how to utilize local materials and to produce their local fashion out there. So during pandemic, we changed the whole delivery into digital. We went online and it went really successful. The impacts of students that went on this project is incredible. For example, Alicia, who went on the first trip to Gambia, has gained so much confidence that now she was a photography student, but now she's so confident, as she say down here in her quote, that she would never have the confidence in herself or her own abilities to fly to New York and do something for the fashion week. After the Gambia project, her confidence is incredible. She also felt she has contributed back to the society as well. And Pierre, who was a filmmaking student from UWE, has received using his experience and apply to be an ambassador for UK in the Ship of the World Youth. So it's a program funded by Japan. So he was representing UK by his experience working in the project here. So for the young Gambians, they also have receive a lot of different transforming skills to enable them to move on to a step closer to be trained and to be having different skills as well. So all the project with local community engagement, again, shown in this presentation, works with the university's 2030 strategies, aims of forming strategic links, enable radiant gay-able graduates, recognized as ambitious, collaborative, innovative, and inclusive and enterprising. This is one of the mission statement for UWE, because our mission is to enable each and every student to have that opportunity to better the world, no matter what discipline they are. So social engagement also enables staff and students to make local global impact in sustainable economy and the society as a whole. So these are some of the quotes that students who went out there have indicated. So that comes to the end of my presentation. So thank you so much.